Thanks, Pete, and thanks to PayDirt for putting on another fantastic Australian nickel conference, and it's great to be on the other side of the fence for a change. I have spent many years sitting in the audience as a participant, seeing which deal we could do next and who wanted some of our cheap money. It's nice to be on the other side. I think it took me a while to find the right project, and I think we're finally onto it. So, if I can figure out how to work this one. Oops. Which one is it? There we go. See, I'm an amateur. Nordic Nickel, who are we? Well, we are a brand new nickel sulphide exploration company. We listed on the ASX in June of this year. We're focused on northern Finland. Our projects are potentially, we believe, district scale, highly prospective for Kambalda-style nickel mineralisation. We've got a highly experienced team in both Australia and in Finland, and we released within 6 weeks of listing our maiden resource, which is 133 million tonnes for 278,000 tonnes of nickel and 12,500 tonnes of cobalt. We're targeting both near-surface disseminated nickel mineralisation, but also the big prize is the deeper high-grade massive sulphides that we believe that we have the potential to uncover. Geophysics, like for many companies, will be key for us, and that has already commenced in our projects in northern Finland. We'll have a 14-month drilling program, which will start in January. So after raising 12 million, we're now focused on unlocking the critical minerals which are required at this critical time. Class 1 nickel, as we've heard a lot of in the last few presentations today, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more over the next day and a bit, is set to grow to around 2.5 million tonnes by 2040, which is about the size of the entire market in 2020. Securing supply for nickel sulphides in Europe has become a strategic priority, and Finland has all the ingredients to be able to become a major player in the nickel sulphide space and is incentivising investment in the country, but also has a deep mining history in Finland as well. The Central Lapland Greenstone Belt is a highly prospective area and remains largely underexplored, and Nordic Nickel has secured 425 square kilometres of tenure in that belt, and we believe that time is right for now to explore that. In terms of why Europe, well, Europe is set to become the second largest hub for battery manufacturing outside of China. Over 20% of the nickel, of the gigafactories that have been constructed in Europe are in the Nordic region. And importantly, all the smelting and refining capacity for nickel is contained within Finland and Norway. So we're right in a prime position to be able to take advantage of the value chain that exists in Finland. The Central Lapland Greenstone Belt, well, it is a highly prospective area, as I mentioned. There's been some major discoveries, but it remains largely underexplored. Some of the major discoveries include the Katilla 7.4 million ounce gold mine. It was discovered by Agnico Eagle, and it remains Europe's largest gold mine. It's about 30 kilometres down the road from our project, our flagship project. The Kevitsa 307 million tonne nickel copper gold project owned by Boliden, and the 44 million tonne Sakatti deposit, which was discovered by Anglo American and was a game changer for the Central Lapland Greenstone Belt. In many ways, we liken it to rocking up in Kambalda back in the 60s and 70s. There's been some major discoveries made, but there has been a lot of ground that hasn't been pegged, and there's a lot of potential in that region. So our projects, well, what we're chasing is Sakatti-style analogues. We believe that the Central Lapland Greenstone Belt will contain more than just one, and our flagship project, which is the Pulley Project, we have 100% owned. It's a district-scale nickel-rich system. We have both near-surface mineralisation, nickel mineralisation, but also high grades, intersections, massive sulphides at depth. The early geophysics are very similar to what was detected with Sakatti, and that will be a key focus for us going forward. But historically, the drilling that's been done there is shallow, so we're looking to follow that up now with our own drill campaign starting next year. Our second project is the Manicure 3 project, or MJ3. That is also similar ultramafic lithologies to the Sakatti deposit, also close to the Sakatti deposit. And we're looking at getting an earn-in. Well, we have an earn-in agreement over that where we can earn in up to 75% interest in that project. We've assembled a highly experienced and dedicated team at Nordic Nickel, both here in Australia with the inclusion recently of Julian Hanna as a technical consultant to Nordic Nickel. Known Julian for many years and previously banked him when I was at BNP Paribas. And then in Finland in particular, we've formed a partnership with a company called Magnus Minerals, who are probably the leading geological services company and consultants in Finland. The head of their exploration team, a gentleman by the name of Juho Havrinen, he's on our board. He's our technical director and he's leading our exploration programs in Finland. By having access to Magnus, we have access to the best geological team in country. Our capital structure, as I mentioned, we're listed on the 1st of June. Our listing price was at 25 cents. We've got 115 million shares on issue. We raised 12 million. We're down to just under 11 at the moment. No debts, an EV of 18 million, which looks like a pretty good position to be in as far as I'm concerned. Our share price has traded around 25 cents or at or thereabouts since listing, which I think is not a bad outcome considering the market conditions at the moment. Our project. So the Pulley Project is our flagship project. We believe we're onto a district scale land package here. We've had 51 holes drilled by Outokumpu back in the 80s and 90s, and was around 10,000 metres of drilling, 10 kilometres of drilling. We were able to pick up that previous drill data and then get in and relog and reassay that core. That was what allowed us to put out our maiden resource within the first 6 weeks of listing. Again, the 133 million tonnes, 278,000 tonnes of nickel units. We believe it's got a lot more to go from there. The focus is the near surface disseminated nickel, which is what the resource base is on at the moment, but the prize is the deeper massive sulfides, which is what we're targeting. Again, no modern geophysics have really been applied, and we're chasing this Sakatti style mineralisation. So why isn't it a Sakatti analogue? Well, essentially we're in the same rocks. We have very similar geological signatures. And if you look at the middle of the page there, I've got a pointer here somewhere. This area here, the area in green is our hot and vara licence. That's what I'll talk on a bit more now. But that's where the original 51 holes were drilled. That represents, that area represents 2% of our total Pulley land package. The red outline is our exploration reservation area, which in Finland means that we've got first rights to apply for exploration licences over that area. The blue areas are the areas that are under application. The green and the olive green areas are the matrix and ultramafic rock sequences that we're focusing, which is very similar to Sakatti. But beyond the geology, we also have in Central Lapland the high magnetics. The magnetic highs are typically associated with the nickel mineralisation. We've had along the trend, again, the same image here. We've got our magnetic highs captured at about a 25 kilometre prospective strike, and up on the eastern flank and up on the northern western flank here is about another 10 kilometres of prospective strike that we'll be focused on. Some examples of the initial the initial drilling that we have, the drill core that was reassayed and logged. We have both on the left-hand side here of the column, we've got the near-surface disseminated nickel, so low grades but very wide intersections and extensive throughout the belt, and again just represents 2% of our total land package. And on the right, which is what got us all very excited, was the higher grade intersections that were clipped on the way through. Again, this drilling's averaged around 250 metres at depth. One hole got down to about 500 metres, but typically it's all been very shallow drilling. The grades of the massive sulfides, we're talking just under a metre at 5%, but we've got an indication of 10% nickel, just under 10% nickel for around 30 centimetres as well. Importantly, we did some initial met test work, which indicated that between 83 and 94% of the nickel sampled is in sulfides, and had excellent liberation characteristics, which we think is a very good start for us. In terms of our exploration target. We were able to upgrade that from our IPO listing on the back of that drill data that we were able to accumulate. And we're talking about a massive system here. Again, this is just on our hot and Vara licence on the 2% that we have on Pulley. And we were able to upgrade our exploration targets following this trend here. What Outokumpu were looking for was drilling the gravity lows, where the mineralisation has been contained. If we continue the drilling through that gravity low, our exploration target is focused now up to 275 to 415 million tonnes, roughly 450 to 1 million tonnes of contained nickel. So it's a massive system. We think that there's potential to grow it. But what got us really excited, and as I mentioned, geophysics is going to be key. We were able to detect that 15 of the original 51 holes were open. We've since got in and resampled and resurveyed those holes, and now it turns out that 26 of those holes remain open. We've done some downhole EM on that and picked up some very big conductors sitting in the middle of the page, which intersects that 1 metre at 5% nickel. We then picked up another plate at around 400 metres. And then we stepped back and we did a fixed loop EM, 2 fixed loops EM over that entire area. You can see our drill, the drilling originally, the original historical drilling. We picked up this massive plate here, which is bigger than what the original Sakati EM conductor was. It's around 1.2 to 1 kilometre wide, and then about 800 metres thick. That's going to be our first exploration target and what we're focused on and what got everyone excited. So in terms of why we think we're comparing to Sakati, well, I think we're just getting started. We're just scratching the surface here. The drilling at Hot and Vara has been shallow. Hot and Vara, the Sakati deposit sits at around 600 to 900 metres. Our major EM conductors that we've picked up so far in the initial geophysics, the biggest one is sitting at exactly that depth. What we know now about the massive sulfides that were detected at Sakati is that they're surrounded by clouds of disseminated nickel, so low-grade nickel in clouds around the massive sulfides, and that's what we're getting in the early stage results. We think we're on to a potential global nickel mining camp here, and comparing it to some of the other projects around the world. And now green in the middle, this is the Pulley Project. That's the Merton Vara formation. We're focused just down here on where our resource was based, but we've got the entire belt up there and up onto the left-hand side as well. We released some results on our regional drilling, which just show the continuation of mineralisation throughout the trend, and all shallow. So our focus now is we're obviously targeting bonanza-style massive sulfides, bonanza-grade massive sulfides. We believe we've got the potential to uncover at least one Sakati-style deposit, and we'll be focused on geophysics for the next few months. The borehole EM is underway. The moving loop EM survey will be undertaken in late November. We also have the ability to expand the near-surface resource, again through drilling out that gravity low channel that we're focused on the Hot and Vara formation. And we believe that's going to give us that potential for a Kevitsa-style resource. So a Kevitsa-style resource near surface, Sakati-style resource at depth. Our exploration plan, within the first 12 months, our plan was to release a maiden resource. We did that in 6 weeks. Met test work was released within 4 weeks of listing. And then we've released the regional results, the district scale potential of this area. We're now focused on the geophysics, getting our drill planning ready for next year. A drill rig will be delivered on site. I should mention that we did a deal with the major drilling contractor in Finland, Kati Drilling, last year, and that gives us now access to exclusive rig. It's our rig to use for the next 3 years, and that will be on site in January, and then we'll continue on for 14 months, for 22,000 metres of drilling. And that's our focus. Thank you.